All right, we are on air. It is Thursday, September 27th, and this meeting is to check in on active design and usability tasks for Backdrop CMS. Starting off with backdropcms.org, our website, our primary focus there is to improve the process of selecting modules, themes, and layouts. The issue for that is issue number 442 in the backdropcms.org queue. We know there's a bunch of issues we'd like to improve. We have better designs. We want to make the search better. We want to include information about projects that are not needed. All of those things need to be addressed in that issue. We could definitely use some help if anyone has some time. On our forum site, forum.backdropcms.org, we have one sort of major outstanding issue. Everything else is rather minor. That is issue number 59, and that is about cleaning up the way the drop down in the rich text editor looks for adding styles to your forum post text. And we have sort of a rough idea of how to fix it, but no direct implementation of that solution yet. I think last time Wes said he wanted to work on it, but he didn't have any time to look into it. So he does know how to fix it, and hopefully he'll get us some code we can apply. That's issue number 59 in the forum.backdropcms.org queue. For Backdrop the product, we have a number of usability issues we wanted to draw attention to, and then we have one design issue that I believe the design has been finalized. We just need implementation. Nina, do you want to run through these, or do you want me to do them?
Yeah, if you would please go through them.
Okay. So the first one is sticky submit buttons, and this is issue number 566 in the Backdrop issues queue. This is an issue where it'll help if you have a really, really long content form and the buttons are all the way at the very bottom of the form, and maybe you're just changing something like the title. Having those buttons be sticky at the bottom of the browser window means you would not need to do quite as much scrolling. So this is something that I have wanted on several of my client sites. It's something that I believe Laren has implemented in several of his themes for his client sites as well. So we just need feedback on whether we think this kind of change is an overall improvement for Backdrop, something that we feel should go in core, or if we think it's something that should continue to be implemented on a site-by-site basis. Like maybe it's not good enough improvement that it would help, 80% or more of editorial teams. Maybe it's only going to help Laren and mine. So I would love feedback on that. We have, I believe there's a pull request and a sandbox. So anyone who wants to give that a try can go ahead and log into the sandbox with the provided username and password, create some content, and see if you think that the experience there is an improvement over what we have in core. So again, that's issue number 566 in the Backdrop issues queue. The next issue is a longstanding usability issue we've had about the modules page. That's issue number 37. This is something we've been trying to get done for both the last two releases of Backdrop, and we've run into various sticking points on each of them. I think we now have a working pull request for that. We just need more review. So again, someone to go and try the sandbox, log in, go to the modules page, and see if you think the new modules page there is more useful than the previous one. The biggest change there is that we've added tags. So in addition to searching for a package or grouping, you can also search for tags that are things that might help you find a module on that page. So that's issue number 37 in the Backdrop issues queue, and we just need more help reviewing that. The next one is to clarify the update dependency messaging. So this is what happens when you go to update your site from Drupal to Backdrop, and there's a newer version of a Drupal module. It should tell you, we can't update this to Backdrop yet because it needs to be updated to the latest Drupal version first. And previously, it didn't tell you which module was having issues. And now we've got some new messaging there. It looks like that pull request still needs work. I don't know if that needs to be rebased or it needs tests or what, but the issue is number 2858 in the Backdrop issues queue if you want to have a look at that. The next issue is to change the text on the submit buttons for the content form. So if you're creating content and you want to change it from published to unpublished, the submit button should say unpublish. And if you want to do the reverse and take unpublished content and publish it, the submit button should say publish. So it'll be a little clearer to people what's going to happen when they click that button. That is issue number 1383. And it looks like we need a pull request for that one. There was a lot of back and forth in that issue about what we should do in order to improve the submit button text. I think we have landed on that decision that all we're going to do in that issue is change the text. But I believe there's another issue that would talk about removing the options for publishing, unpublishing, and draft, and instead provide 3 different buttons for that, or publishing, draft, or scheduled, which is a little bit more complicated. So I wanted to do that in a follow-up issue. We also have, related to our new publishing options, issue number 3122, which would take this, there's sort of a big paragraph of help text at the bottom of the submit, or at the bottom of the publishing options that tries to explain what all of them does. My recommendation was to separate that text into an individual bit of text for each option. And when I originally implemented that pull request, we found some design concerns with the way that our description text is displayed. So we need a CSS update there as well that would take the description text for individual radios or checkboxes and line them up with the label of those radios and checkboxes so that it doesn't look like it's for a separate element on the page. And we might also need a little bit of vertical space cleanup there too, so that it's clear that those 3 options are part of the same question. So, you know, what do you want your published status to be? And then having 3 bullets that are answers to that question. So there's just a little usability cleanup on the visual display of how that would work that needs a little update. So that's issue number 3122. Then the next and last usability issue we wanted to discuss is issue number 3193, and that is the idea of having promoted modules both on the backdropcms.org website in the module section and in the feed of modules that gets pulled into the module installer page. So this would be if you're looking for a solution to adding a reference from one type of content to another on your site, the promoted module section would recommend the reference module as opposed to the entity reference module or the references module. So it helps steer people towards what we hope will be the dominant or most popular solution, even though right now we don't necessarily have numbers that back up the fact that the references module should be the most popular solution. So it'll sort of help guide people towards what we expect to be the most widely adopted, and also hopefully once it'll go into core. So in the future, if we're going to take a references module and put it into core, it'll be easier for people to handle that update step if that module is recommended to them earlier, so that when it goes into core, their process of getting to core will be easier. So I think that makes sense. We just need some decisions on what a promoted module would look like on backdropcms.org or on the installer browser itself. And then we need to figure out technically how to implement it on the side of our feed. So I believe on our site, that feed is generated from a view. It might not be. It might just be part of project module. Do you happen to know?
I think it's just part of project module. I don't think it's a view.
Okay. So that might need a little work then to try and figure out how to get the promoted projects to appear at the top of that list, especially if we're doing a search on the client side, how we would get the recommended ones to appear at the top of the search results still in an order that's sensible. So that could be a little tricky.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next issue would be design. We have one design related issue, which is improving the design of our backdrop installer for mobile devices. And it looks like we have landed on a conclusion for what we want that to look like, but we don't yet have a pull request that's implementing the design changes. And that issue is number 2873 in the backdrop issues queue. We did just come out with the release for Backdrop 111. We are expecting there will be a handful of bug fix or usability fix improvements on that release. But if you are interested in what's coming in the future, there's a tag on the, or a milestone in the Backdrop issues queue for 112, and that's where all of these issues are currently slated. So anything here you're trying to find later, you forgot what issue number it is, you can go look at the milestone for 1.12 and you can see all of these issues in there. Also, if you're specifically interested in helping with usability issues, you can search the issue queue for square bracket UX square bracket, and you'll find all the issues that are related to usability. Or if you're particularly interested in design issues, there's a tag there, audience design, and those should highlight issues where we specifically need designer feedback, or in some case, we need actual designs created for the problem space. So that's hopefully a good place for designers to get involved. That's all I have on today's agenda. Do we have anything else we want to add to this week's meeting?
Nope.
Okay, then let's go ahead and wrap this meeting, and we will have another meeting in about 45 minutes to talk about current development tasks that are underway for Backdrop CMS. So thanks for watching, everyone, and hopefully that's a good rundown on what to work on next.
Great. Thank you, Jen.
Hey, everyone.